I know it's my skin.
Tonight's show, we're talking about belief detox, and I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
That looks like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You saw like something on your end table that this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if she's showing me flowers, like relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
There needs to be a connection with like a Native American ancestry. And they're showing me a turquoise stone. Yes.
I just went to a Native American dance class and I wore this stone.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh,
I know it's my skin.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? We've all co-created this matrix. So if you don't like the matrix, that's you saying that you don't like your own reality, what you're creating for yourself. So we're all equal participants of the creation of this matrix.
I don't just come on here and talk repeat I'm living it.
In harmony with nature.
Happy oof, there's like, the retrograde is just driving me nuts. Started bad already. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. How's y'all week been? I don't know if you saw, there was a glitch in the beginning. I come on in, music's playing. What's going on? It's been an interesting Scorpio season. As we're wrapping up Scorpio season, tomorrow is the last day of Scorpio season. So it's been a whirl for a lot of people. And I'm laughing because it truly has been. So we'll kind of get into that in the collective read, see what's going on. And so, as I've been saying, it's really kind of going to bring a lot out of you, this coming month, as far as I said last night and leading out loud about, this next coming month is going to be kind of making the unseen seen, and the unseen being seen. I just posted a video about this, is really about those beliefs that have been kind of hidden, the desires that have been kind of hidden, and probably maybe you've been unseen by a lot of people. Maybe you have been showing up and presenting yourself the way you should be, and now it's time for make those things seen, shining light on those things, and so a lot of truth will be revealed for us individually, collectively too. So it's that time. And so Scorpio season will kick you in the ass to make sure you're getting yourself on board to say, all right, I'll do it. Right? I've had enough. So, and so we have next week is Thanksgiving too. So, we'll all be thankful, that we're no longer in Scorpio season. So that's for sure. But it's been intense, but the intensity doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think for some reason people or challenges don't have to be a bad thing. These things can be very, very beneficial for us. And so, for me, it's been more, I would say, grounding, and I've been finding more of the passion for the things that probably I maybe have not been giving and designating passion toward that I should have. So that's what the realization's been making for me, and being very more introspective on things. And so, and sometimes in those introspective moments, we got to kind of close in a little bit and take the space for ourselves, and not to be offensive to other people or to offend others. So other people take things personally sometimes, but sometimes we just need to take that space. And so know when you need to take that space, and know when you need to communicate and convey it too. And so that's that. And so let's see who's Chatty Cathy on in the room before we get into the collective read here. So yeah, it's been a week. I took off last week, and I'll be taking off next week because it's Thanksgiving. Because for some reason Thursday night falls on some sort of holiday all the time. So, so won't be here next week, but we'll be there. We'll be here on the following week. So Jennifer David Cruz, my mother and father, is in the room. Welcome aboard. A wonderful Ma Nina's in the room. So if you want to get your questions in, get them in now, because I'll be wrapping up quickly after the topic. So it's 15 for a card pull, 20 for one question, 30 for two, 40 for a live video with me. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description below. If you have any questions, our wonderful Ma Nina will guide you through the process to shout it out in the chat here, and she'll guide you on that. Get them in now, because if they're not in by the time I'm done with the topic tonight, I will close down and you won't get your readings in. And remember, it's first come, first serve. So, all right. Horses Trigger Hope, good to see you. Welcome aboard. Lisa Cruz, my sister from the same missus, good to see you as well. And Iggy, can't you see? Change those stinky belief briefs. Made also from birth control polyester. That's right. And we're going to be talking about that in our topic about how to detox, do a belief detox, because we have a lot of beliefs that I call them filters of our soul that we're experiencing life toward, that we might want to start removing those filters now, because it's been inhibiting our way of seeing a broader perspective on things in our life and so forth. So we'll get into that topic, and what to do to create new ones and so forth. So that's coming ahead. Alma Ford, good to see you. Tommy Garassi, happy Thursday to you as well. Starlight Reboot, good to see you. James Porterfield, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yes. The Scorpio transit has been an interesting one, tough one, right? For a lot of people. But you got your A handed to me and almost gave up. Though I'm still here. That's good you didn't give up. So you'll be driving tonight when I say hi. So good to see you as well, James. Thanks for stopping on by. And drive safely, please. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Brenna's good to see you. Caroline Caton, good to see you as well. Sydney Erin, my sister from another mister, good to see you. Darby Mayberry with the purple heart, love the purple hearts as well. And those of you who are watching cannot see, I just can notice he was Chatty Cathy in the room. And I've noticed a lot more people been, me included, offline. I've noticed a lot too. So, and I think that's a good thing too. I think there's families and business, and things with, holidays going on. And I kind of noticed that. I always pick up on these like energies, and like the energy on social media feels a little more quiet, and it's good. You should also be engaging with life and traveling and doing all that great stuff and coming back and rewatching these videos here. All right, let's shuffle these cards. Julie Fox, good to see you as well. Welcome aboard. All right, let's shuffle these cards, see what's going on, and see what the theme is for this week, moving on forward too, because I like to theme it, And again, like we always have to find something new to say week to week, so it's not so repetitive. But sometimes it will be repetitive. But I don't feel like this week is repetitive because I don't even remember what the hell I talked about last week. Anyone know what I talked about last week? What the collective read was about? I have no freaking clue. Because I channel, I come on, I don't know what I'm going to really say. I just have a topic. I don't know what the collective read will be, and I don't know what the topic, how I'm going to talk about the topic. It all just comes out. So I'm doing conscious channeling. So. Interesting. Okay. Well, interesting. These are very strong cards, actually. They're very strong cards, which is a really good sign. But we'll see what the message is behind here. And shuffling these oracle cards, too. Maybe I should put the pensive music while I'm shuffling, so it's not so quiet. You don't hear me snuffling. But yeah, these are very strong cards, and I think a lot of this is going to be the results, the manifestations coming out of Scorpio season. So I think this is going to be a interesting ride for a lot of you guys. And I also like to talk about those who perhaps are not doing the work, how they're going to experience things moving forward, and those who are. So there's always going to be a little bit of a difference. But give me a couple seconds so I can tune in, and we'll start this collective read. Okay. All right, we turn this music down now. All right. Maintenance. Have you taken your soul in for maintenance? That's the thing I wanted to start with today, because we have to understand, we do a lot of work, and sometimes we experience life and then we do a lot of work, but we have to understand about maintenance. And when we think about maintenance, it's kind of like a little bit of a checkup, a little bit of a tune in. And I think when we're making major changes, we have to just do a little bit of fine tuning, making sure that we've cleared out certain aspects of our subconscious, make sure we clear out certain aspects of patterns that we maybe been holding on to. And so we're coming out of a period where we've gotten rid of a lot of karma, a lot of kind of unresolved karma. So we're coming out. We've got to do a little bit more maintenance too, to make sure we're not participating in things the same way, even though our participation behaviors don't quite match the new level of consciousness that we're in. And this is a lot of times where we feel kind of beside ourselves or in betwixt ourselves, because we're like, I have this new perspective and I have this new joy, but like there's something else holding me back, and I feel like I'm going back and forth. It's like, yeah, you still have the same behaviors that you're doing from the old version. So it's time that we got to do that maintenance to like do a checkup, say, oh, okay, I got to stop doing this way. It's got to stop doing it that way. Got to stop responding to this way and start recreating. And the tweaks that we do is recreating the newer essence, the newer behavior, because A lot of times we're very focused on what we want next. We know what we want. We know what we don't want, but then we don't figure out how do I act to be in that alignment of it? How do I behave to attract it? How do I behave to get myself in the similar environments that I say that I'm actually seeing myself going into, and saying we have to change behaviors, and we have to do that extra maintenance to be able to identify the behaviors that we've been stuck in a habitual nature, and also to identify the behaviors that we can actually start doing next, being that actor in our lives. And so a lot of this comes from intuition. I hate to sound so cliche about this too, but the High Priestess cards, it's really about the intuition and psychic ability, but we got to go deeper with this. And when things are kind of like falling apart and we're making changes and like things keep happening to us and these frustrations keep happening to us, that's the time we got to do some maintenance. Okay, it's just like when you get that oil change, right? When you have to get those the fluids, in your car replaced, right? Or little tune-ups. The same things do we have to do here to understand, okay, these things are going in disarray. There's something else around that I need to fine-tune here. And a lot of times it's past behaviors that we're still exhibiting in our lives. And when we're able to identify that, and I always say we have to imagine that new role. What is our new role now? All right, we've cleared the crap out. We've cleared out the old patterns. We resolved the trauma. We resolved the karma. But what is the new role we're supposed to take now? And many people forget this important part, this important, level, a chapter of that new role. And they just feel like, oh, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And nothing's happening. It's like, well, it's like nothing's happening because you didn't identify that new role. And so when we identify it, then we allow ourselves to intellectually merge with it. Then that becomes rational to us. And then it becomes rational to us. Then we start able to participate in life in that way. And then we start recognizing that, oh, this is the newer version of me. I'm allowing my physical sense to adapt to that idea. So now that is the new version, that I'm as above, so belowing, so to speak. Right? So it's important for us to understand this, and we do have to be the dictators of our lives moving forward too. And so too many people I find in the spiritual communities are waiting for their personal change to happen. Like, well, so what's next? And like, nothing's really happening. It's like, but what do you mean nothing's happening? Where is that happening supposed to fucking come from? Right? So if nothing's happening, you're not doing anything. So what is that new role? And what are you dictating in your life? Right? And how are you being the dictator, so to speak, in your life? And everything, like I always say, everything has a duality to it, a positive emphasis and a negative emphasis. So dictating something could be very positive. It could be very progressive for yourself. Dictating could also be a negative thing if you're trying to dictate for somebody else. But doing it for yourself, you should be dictating for yourself what this new facet is, what these new interests are, right? And what that new persona is, and so forth. So we have to dictate this. And so once we get in that rhythm of doing so, now things are moving. Oh, wow. Now I'm meeting these people. Oh, these opportunities are now starting to unfold. I'm starting to see, because now you're allowing your behaviors to be integrated with the newer version that's in the subconscious, and the subconscious is not just about negative patterns. The subconscious is also, your intuition is also buried in that subconscious too. And so you're able to merge now the true essence with your behavior, and then boom, the physical world starts coming alive, right? And the Page of Cups also saying about having a mission, basically, in this sense. It's always like a proposition, Page of Cups, some with a message, but to me, this context, the Page of Cups, is really talking about something new, things, new interests coming aboard, a new message, new insights, right? New connections. And so that is very important for us to understand how these connections, where are they really coming from? Because if I'm looking to connect or to attract, or if I'm looking to create something new, where is that actually coming from, though? And what I always say is, when we clear out any type of distortions, and I call beliefs are usually distorting reality, when we clear out those filters, then we can start being more perceptive of how to navigate in this matrix of the physical world. Because there's so many energetic components that are just like, we're in this soup of energy, positive, negative, all good, a spectrum of energy. And we want to be able to resonate what our next steps are by saying, I'm going to go here, I feel this here, I feel that there. And we're being perceptive enough to, again, maneuver around into physical reality to attract and to align with the things that are equal to us. But you can't do that without behavior or action, clearly. And behavior and action is just an expression. So if you're waiting for things to come and you're waiting for things to happen, nothing's happening, you're not dictating anything and you're not expressing anything other than why, where, wonderment. And staying in wonderment is like, Okay. It's like, that doesn't really do much for you when you're staying in wonderment. It's like, there's no progression in that. It's like, la, la, la. Right. And that's kind of what the Three of Wands is saying. It's kind of like you're in betwixt, a lot of positive things, however, but you also want to look beyond. Right. And we do have to think about the future. And the future is a guide point of the direction that we wish to take. Not so much about questioning. Too many guys question what is in my future versus what is my future. Not as what is in my future. What is my future? And you have to answer those questions. You are navigating. You are directing. And so as a psychic, people always say, well, then, then how is a psychic able to predict? We predict what you're putting forth. And of course, we do have a destiny and a purpose that we're able to align, that we have prior to incarnating. We all have a theme. But as a psychic, we're also reading what's rendering that you're creating that maybe you are not conscious of, or you're not conscious on directions of things that you are creating. So we have to kind of step in and say, this is going this direction. You might want to pivot. But at the end of the day, you're still in control. But when you look ahead, and you understand what this is where I'd like to be, it's not so much like to be, this is where I'm going to be. Understand, because convert like into want, and turn the want into, I am, I will, because understand your wants and desires are your spec sheet of who you are, if it's coming from the right place. So it's time to oversee, what do you see yourself doing? And the things that you want to do, find yourself in your mind's eye doing such. It's stupidly simple. Because once we get the intellect on board, the easier process is, and it makes sense, it's rational, now I'm going to start behaving it and doing it, and all the inspiration comes in and all that great stuff. And with the King of Swords, it's like, it really is, you have you're very agile intellectually. That's the knowing. Right? And so there's a process to knowing. There's a process to understanding what that real knowing of the self is. And that's, again, coming from intuition, you being the dictator, and understanding you are the dictator of your own life, and understanding those parameters, and choosing to behave. And I always say, a lot of people don't do things because they say, I'm not confident enough. And it's like, what do you think confidence is? Confidence is a result of how comfortable you are doing something. The more comfortable you are doing something, the more confident you are at it. So therefore, if you're not confident in yourself of achieving those goals, you better get more comfortable with being in your skin, be more comfortable being who you are. So therefore, you're confident enough to do whatever you need to do to make yourself happy, and to make life more enriched and life more pleasurable. Because it's all a choice. Confidence is a choice, right? Even failure, that's a choice. You choose to divide such a way, then that's a choice, and doesn't need to be this way. And so this is all about balance. I think we're coming out of phase right now that Scorpio season is bringing balance into the play. And again, very cliche with self-love. Okay, so self-love, let's define self-love so it doesn't sound like a bumper sticker. Self-love is more about attending to yourself. Self-love is acknowledging the self and acknowledging what you are feeling, and actually allowing yourself to set the parameters to embrace what you're feeling and expand it. That's self-love. Self-love is not holding yourself back. Self-love is not self-defecating. It's not self-deprivating. I like to say defecating as a little bit of spin on terms there. And self-love is not allowing yourself to experience things in repetition that are degrading. So self-love means I'm pushing that away because it's not effective me, and it's being very aware. Self-love is self-aware. Okay? Because that is the only way you're going to find true pleasure, through that sovereignty. So I just saw these, the layout of the oracles here, and I love them. So that is where you find the pleasure, is through that sovereignty. And what does sovereignty really mean? It means that you understand, you're making the choice that you're living life purely for yourself. And then when you understand the essence of the self-expression, you want to share it. And then you connect it. Then you integrate it with the collective. That's the purpose here. And so, I was telling my mom too, because my mom is like in a position where she wants to focus on herself. And I said, you need to focus on yourself. Like, you paid your dues, you raised two kids, had a challenging upbringing. Like, you should be selfish now. You earned it. Right. And so, and some of you guys have to understand, like, we've all earned the essence of focusing on ourselves. A lot of us have. And so it's time for us to start really developing that awareness, because it's stupidly simple. But the thing that really gets us in the way, and I forgot to do my overlays again, that was a collective reading. Now we're going on to the topic of belief detox. Okay, let me remove that banner. That looks horrible. The one thing that gets in the way of us doing all this are beliefs. And so so many people are so hung up on their beliefs, and I've talked about this kind of every so often, but this is something I feel like I want to spend more time talking about, like more acutely, is, beliefs come from so many different avenues. We have beliefs that we carry from our upbringing, from our parents, from societal aspects of upbringing. We have beliefs that have been generated because of certain experiences that we've had. We have beliefs that we were just told over and over again, and we hear over and over again, or we have beliefs that we've created because we've been thinking something over and over again. We start believing in it too. We have beliefs that we form because of the environments we surround ourselves in, right? We have beliefs because of people we hang around and then what they're talking about, and so you witness what they're saying, and that forms a belief. And so there's so many different avenues that we actually develop and create beliefs. The issue that most people have is no one is really observing their beliefs. They're just defending their beliefs. So beliefs are ingrained in us to be like life or death. We'll die for our beliefs. And we see that all the time in our political spheres. We got to ask ourselves and be conscious and say, let me do a checkup. Right? Let me do some maintenance on my beliefs. Shall we do this? And so let's go my subconscious. What do I really believe about things? Let's start with love life. What do I really believe about love? Do I feel like to be loved is bad, so I'm running away from love because I feel like to be loved is abused because I was abused by a loved one? Is that a belief that I have? Is that serving? Is that rational? And so we have to ask ourselves if the beliefs that we're carrying, are they actually rational? Or are they in a direction where they're actually going to end up serving us or inhibiting us? And so these are questions we're going to have to start doing in different avenues of our lives where we're experiencing deprivation or limitation. And ask ourselves, what am I believing here? Is it guilt? Do I have guilt about this situation? Because the guilt is telling me I must believe I have to be responsible for something. So what do I feel like I'm responsible for? What do I believe I need to be responsible for that's creating this guilt? Then you start saying, well, I believe I'm supposed to be responsible for others. And then you start narrowing it down and you're like, I believe I need to be responsible for others. How is that rational? How am I responsible for other people? Why aren't other people responsible for themselves? Are people responsible for me? No. So why do I have to be responsible for other people? Boom, boom. That belief has been completely exposed and obliterated because you've just showed its contradiction. And that is the point about beliefs, the negative beliefs that we pose, that we have, that we need to try to find a way to contradict it. And usually when we do, it's so easy to. So easy to contradict it because they're so irrational. So we have a lot of these beliefs that we have to inspect. Is this a belief from my mom? Is this a belief from my dad? Is this a belief from school? Like, do I really believe in these things that I was grown up with, and so forth? And so these are checkups that we have to do because, as I always say, the beliefs filter your consciousness. You put on these filters. Well, your consciousness on its own is clear, perceptive. It's 5D format, baby. It's objective, like when we were a kid. There's no limitation, there's restriction, there's no self-doubt, there's no self-judgment or judgment of others. It's just, it understands. But then we start putting a belief in front of it. All right, well, things are great, but people are abusive. Oh, but I can't trust people, so people are not trustworthy. We start laying belief after belief, and those beliefs is basically our perception of how we're experiencing our external world. And so we have those beliefs, then we start, woe is me energy. We start attracting things in that essence, in that frequency. We start aligning with things that resonate. And that's all we will ever see too, because we think that that's happened, that the whole world is that way because we've now filtered those beliefs. Because we keep surrounding ourselves in that perception and that essence, so that we think the whole world's that way. Everyone's like that. All men are cheaters. Right? So that's important for us to understand, because when you start developing and start, vocalizing things that are in a blanket sort of way, like a blanket statement sort of way, you have a false belief there that's limiting you. All men are this. Every good person is this. They always do this. They're always doing that. Like, that's a blanket statement. That means you have layers of beliefs that's blinding and limiting your perception of actual objective reality. It's hurting you. And it's preventing you from manifesting what you want. Because so many people have these filters, right? And here I go. I'm going to go on the soapbox again. Get ready for it, Iggy. That people have these filters, unresolved karma, and they think just because they wished upon a star that somehow my lover's not coming. Why? And I'm like, but you went on a date and you don't even participate. You fall asleep. You don't engage. You have no personality. But that this love of your life is supposed to come on in, and you have unresolved karma. You have bad energy, yada, yada, yada. Right? And so many people are like, oh, but the universe is against me. It's like, what are you talking about? The universe doesn't care. It's not conscious. It's just, you get what you give. Everything is a result of you. Everything you're experiencing is a result of you, either on this physical incarnation that you're in currently, psychologically, or your past incarnations that you're carrying unresolved karma from. Where is it coming from? And until you learn it, there will always be a block, and those blocks are your beliefs. And a lot of these beliefs are formed by default from your experiences. And so it's very important that we identify and do the maintenance, like I said in the collective read, to say, do I have beliefs that aren't serving me? Do I have beliefs that are limiting me? That's very important, because we need to understand the more objective we are in our lives and overall, the more we see things and the more we can be more intuitive to navigate in physical reality to find what we want, to achieve what we want. And to express how we want to express and meet others in that same way, because we can smell it out. We're in tune to it. And so and this is the way how you really detox from them. Like I said before, you contradict it. You contradict it. And so a actual belief that's in truth and harmony and of empowerment can't be contradicted. You can't contradict, well, I believe I need to love myself and support myself. How are you going to contradict that? How is that irrational? I believe I should love myself first so that I can be of service to other people. You believe that? How can you contradict that? It's true. It's fundamentally true. It's empowering. It's not limited. There's no lies underneath that. Right? And so these are things we have to start redoing. And so I would say for a lot of you guys, your homework should be is that you take a piece of paper and have two sides of it. Beliefs that you need to get rid of and beliefs you want to form that equal the future you say that you want. And when we do this and we start removing, we start seeing things, oh my gosh, our intuition becomes more prominent. And we start becoming more objective. And objectivity means you see things in more of a 5D perspective. So you can be able to predict more of the collective or know what's happening and be in flow of things and just feel like, I need to go to this grocery store, and boom, you meet the love of your life. I feel like I just need to go to that dinner. Boom, you get the job offer that you wanted. You just find all these little pathways because you're clear, you're objective, you can see. You're in tune to, resonate with the ebbs and the flows of what's in your frequency or not. That's what real manifestation law of attraction really is, actually. Because everything is energy and frequency. And we are vibrating at a certain frequency, so to speak. And there's others doing the same. But we have to set forth to do the work, to understand that journey of doing so, to maneuver and to behave and to express and to participate. Many people forget the participate, behavior, and expression part. Where's it coming from? I don't know. Nothing's happening for me. I'm like, but you want your business to come. Did you create a website? No. You didn't create a website. Okay. Are you marketing? No. Do you know what type of services you want to offer? I'm not sure. But then why isn't anything happening? Nothing's happening because you didn't do anything. But when we take the essence of what we desire and we apply that into, okay, let's create the website now. What services do I want to offer? Let's plan it all out. What kind of price range? What kind of design aesthetics do I want? You start creating, you start taking the internal desire as above, so below, and you're pushing it into a tangible expression. All parameters of such. And so, who the hell do you think is going to do that for you? Is that going to come out of the sky? Is that just going to manifest? No, it's not. Because how did I start my work 12 years ago remotely? I put myself in a situation to read people so people could know who I am. I put it out there, made contacts. I built my own website, found a booking system. I created all myself, got it going where I've been doing this 12 years. Professionally, my whole life as a psychic medium. I created all that. I created all the aesthetics. I done it all myself. Right? And then when you do that, you meet people, connections, and it expands. But this is the things that we talk about. Belief prevents one. Negative beliefs prevents us from moving forward, participating, and the positive, empowered beliefs pushes us forward where the action is a no-brainer. You can't help but to act and to express. So it's important that we understand that we now need to detox from those beliefs that have been outdated, old, limiting, self-defecating and self-deprivating, right? As I said both. That's time to do this and regenerate new beliefs that really conform to your true persona. Because the beliefs you choose and hold and have within you, you've chosen to pick them up along the way. You've chosen for it to format that way based on wherever you're at that time, and you're still choosing to hold on to them now. So why would you keep choosing them? And so the message of everything is a choice needs to be ingrained within you. Your thoughts are your choice. What you choose to pull from a thought and turn into a tangible experience, what you choose to pull from a thought and turn into emotion is your choice. So don't you want to be more conscious of what you're choosing versus just choosing off default? And this is the maintenance I'm talking about in the collective read. We got to do that maintenance. And let's do a checkup here. Let's do a checkup over here. Let's check this belief there. Let's check this behavior here. We got to do that. Because once you do, you purge those beliefs and you'll start regenerating naturally the beliefs that are in alignment and upgraded from those experiences that you've also upgraded from. This is the new path that we're on. This and again, I said, last night as I recapped it, this evening, is that this next month is going to be very much conducive to that type of behavior and pushing the energy of us in that behavior and that awareness consciously, and that's important. Very important that we understand the energy cycles going on in our collective astrology. So we understand the cycles going on with the collective astrology. We understand how to utilize that energy for self-growth and to take advantage of things. When to leap, when to take a step back, when to pause, when to reflect, when to express. And I find the astrology in conjunction to my psychic reads to be very, very beneficial to understand, okay, this is the environment we're in now. This is the cycle we're in now. We're the retrograde. So this is what the retrogrades tell me to step back. During the retrograde, I took a massive step back in my life and just not touching anything right now. And boy, I was like, easy breezy. And other people are collapsing on things, trying to push and do. And I'm like, it's not affecting me. Right? And so, so we have to, in order for us to be in that flow, in that rhythm, we hear about the flow all the time. Like, oh, but I'm in flow. I'm in flow because my head's in the clouds. I'm in flow. It's like, that's not flow. You're in gaga la la land. Flow is that you understand the currents, the energetic currents of a collective current in our, of course, the external objective world, and you're understanding how to ride those waves in benefit of your own single subjective evolution. That's flow. This way, each saga, each chapter, each phase is important. And it becomes a theme. It becomes a season for you. And the seasons become not bad or good, just different. Just different. There's intensity, there's relaxed, there's exciting, there's intimate. They all are necessary. And the only way to really understand this is to remove and pull those layers, the filters off your consciousness that we call beliefs that are distorting your view of that. Okay? And understand again, that in order to identify, we must do that maintenance, as I said in the beginning. We must do those checkups within ourselves and ask ourselves these goddamn questions. Some people are like, why? Why? And just stay there and why? They don't close the why, and especially when it goes up at the end, like, why? Like that, they're just like, there's no closure there. Why? You got to say, why is this? Let's go deep and find out. Let's ask the what's too. Okay? And when we do that, it comes out. We know what the hell we're doing. Just like when people are in bad relationships, they know they're not supposed to be that person, but they just override it anyways. But I just need to feel this now. I just need to have him here right now because I just love him. And so I know he's bad. It's like, that's delusion. That's like you want a pacifier. We gotta outgrow that behavior of just needing something now just because. And that deprivation comes from negative beliefs. And when your negative beliefs, like I said before, is congesting your viewpoint, you will hold on to anything limited as a pacifier to satisfy your limited viewpoints and your limited world. When all you got to do is like remove a belief, take them off, and like, oh, there's so much around, right? So now's the time to do this, guys. I'm going to keep it very simple tonight on this regard. And, let me just see if there's anything else in closing that, and we'll get into the questions. So get your questions now, guys, because the topic's over. We'll have a message from Nina, and then we're going to close. Keeping it simple tonight. Because I think we need to keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid, right? So I want to see if there's any additional cards to pull in closing of the message. And closing of the message. So, and again, I want to make my goal is to make the metaphysical, philosophical tangible. That's my goal. That's always been my goal. I spent so many years trying to package these things in a simplistic way. You know, and that's one thing I hear from a lot of people. It's, you make it sound so simple and you make it so digestible. It's like, that's the point. Because it is. And we can go overly philosophical if we need to. But when one knows the whole structure of things, because I've studied the structure of psychology and how we work and how we respond to based off trauma or not, or deprivations or lack of belief, lack of support, and how we are intuitively, and the structure of us on the intuitive level, a psychic level, and all that stuff, and the soul and spirit level, understanding the structures of stuff and how it responds to each other and how it goes side and side. That's how I'm able to make it easy, because I understand the structure of such. I actually, I'm starting seeing my own personal therapist, because I'm like, you know what? I need a soundboard. I need someone that I'm always listening to everybody else. I'm always, I need someone I can just like talk to and just be objective and put my thoughts in. Because every time people feel like they can't support me because Scott already knows, or I don't know what to tell you. I get this all the time from people, I just want someone to bounce something off of, from me. And so I'm like, I think it's healthy. Like, even when I sing, when I'm a singing coach or someone to help just to mentor and to guide. And so, and I was just speaking to that with the therapist today. I was just saying that, I need to like have a soundboard. I need to have something that I can feel like I'm, expressing, that I'm able to have someone to reflect and to check up. That's not a friend. That's not someone close to me. Right. And so I think we all need that outlet somehow in some way, but for me, because I talk to people so much every day, and, with relationships, I have people in my life who, have been in needy positions, and thankfully I'm able to serve, because that means I'm not in a needy position. So I'm very blessed with that. But I do need to curb and to keep myself fresh, clean. That's my maintenance. And so where was I going with that? I don't remember, but it's went off guard there. But just to release, just to allow yourself to purge, just to allow yourself to detox, even if it's just speaking, even if it's just like taking an exhale, right? If it's a journal, whatever the case is, that's something we all need for maintenance. I'm going to circle back to the main thing. And so maintenance also means your body. Okay, we talked about the subconscious. We also talk about spiritual maintenance, which is like you're setting parameters and boundaries of those things that are toxic, that are not serving of you, that are also pulling from you. We got to do the maintenance there. We got to do the maintenance with our bodies, with our health too. It was a couple years ago. I just kept every question about someone's health, bad health, and of course it must have been because we were coming out of COVID. And I'm asking just simple questions. I'm like, do you do this? No. Do you do this? No. Do you do this? No. What are you eating? Fast food, quick food. I don't have the time. It's like, how do you expect to have good health? You're not doing anything. Like, and we forget about the simplicity of simple maintenance. And so, and I studied, I would ask myself, why are these clients like avoiding the simple process of just engagement and self-belief, self-worth issues? They're not worth enough. They're not worth to be taking care of themselves. They weren't taught to take care of themselves. And so these things we have to keep it simple, stupid in that sense. And so our physical bodies, we're living in these bodies, and how we take care of these bodies is a reflection of what we're going on inside. What's happening inside? And so, and how we feel about ourselves, and how much emphasis we want to put on ourselves. And there's a lot of people that demand a lot from other people, but they're not doing anything for themselves. You do this, you got to be like this for me, and do this for me. But then they're not taking care of themselves, they're not eating right, they're not doing anything that attends to their mental health. They're just everybody else to show up for them, but they don't want to show up for themselves or show up for other people. Like, we got to start understanding those types of people we have around us. Are we fueling that energy? Or are we putting that fueling into the self and the maintenance of the self? And we have to understand, what environments, I said this before last week, which environments are you putting yourselves in, guys? Online environments means what news outlets are you watching, right? Is it all conspiracy stuff, or is it all just wackadoo stuff, or is it objective stuff? Is it stuff that matters? Is it stuff that's contributing to the well-being and evolution of our planet and species? The fact that we're talking about Epstein files and all these things now in our current media is like, it's like, yeah, we want to get to the bottom of that, but there should be other emphasis too on things that really matter when it comes to people's healthcare and well-being, supporting of people, and how we can actually move forward as a species and collective society for opportunity. We don't hear talking about that. So then why would you want to surround yourself constantly in that environment? It's good to be in the know of that. But you better put yourself in other environments that are conducive to you shedding beliefs, taking care of beliefs, and your own personal spiritual maintenance. These are things that you have to be conscious of. And these are things you have to be asking yourself, am I doing this? Am I doing that? And then you answer your question. No wonder why I have health issues. No wonder why I'm having relationship issues. No wonder why I'm alone. You'll answer your questions like that. So, all right. So before we get into the questions, and here's a quick message from Nina.
What is up, Thursday crew? I'm excited to do a channel message, tapped in fresh for you. So when I was tapping in, I kept getting this energy of like rickety bumps, like an old carriage that goes over these like old cobblestone floors and it's rickety. Like I'm hearing like it's gonna be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but it's still gonna be fun. And I got that before I went to my closet and I was like, I really want to pull from a deck. So I grabbed this box and I opened it up and it was completely empty where there should have been a card deck. So at this point, I'm like, what is going on? But underneath the box area, like underneath that, there's just one card and the card is freedom. And it's this woman riding this horse and going towards freedom. So there is this, you are charging towards something different. You are charging towards a better space. It might just be like when you're riding that horse, like rickety a little bit or bumpy as you go along. What I'm hearing specifically around this messaging is that it took a long time to even get to here. So be proud of being here. Before like you're charging forward with the horse. Like expect there to be changes, expect there to be job changes, financial changes, relationship changes, and all this will be unfolding within the next 2 months, I keep feeling. And it's nice because ultimately it's all about this freedom energy and you experiencing liberation, experiencing joy and freedom in a way that previous subconscious limiting beliefs might have kind of tied you back or created an illusion of tying you back. But I'm hearing like the shackles are free, the lines are free, you're moving forward. So just whenever you're on the horse and there's like that little dip, like keep trusting that path forward and you'll get there. Love y'all. See you in the chat.
You know, that's really funny, Nina. Because that was supposed to be for last week, but he took off. I said, Nina, we'll have to use it for next week. And it's funny because she mentioned about limited beliefs, and we're talking about beliefs today, so that was not planned by at all. It was not planned. And it's the first time I've actually hearing that. So I love the synchronicity. So it was made for us, Nina, to be done today, this week. So bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Let's get to the live readings here. We just have like 4 in, guys. Get them in because we're going to shut down soon. I won't be waiting. Okay, first question from Danny. No question or jazz. Just a simple thank you for what you've done. I see you, friend. Oh, Danny, that's so sweet of you. That was kind of you. Oh, that's right. That's from last week. That was sweet. I did send Danny a appreciation. That was nice. Thank you, Danny. You're so kind. Love you. Okay. Question from Beth L. About the dishonest man, she says, would and could he ever be a one-woman man with me? Was the woman with the short blonde hair the one from the past that he had intimacy with back in July when he and I first had a heated exchange? My question, would he ever be a one-woman man? No. Because there's always going to be something else entertaining. He may have like a woman that he's predominantly with, but there's all these other extra curricular activities, I feel, in his experience. So we got that going on. So there's always going to be some entertainment somewhere. And that blonde, yes, that's someone from the past of intimacy and connection, for sure, back in July. That, where you're saying about having the first heat exchange. Yes. And so, especially there's a past relationship too, that there's some legal connection to a property. Like there's just so much. As my Jewish friends from the East Coast say, Michigas, too much Michigas, there's a lot of that going on. And so, this individual is always going to be in this rocky perspective. This person is always going to be inconsistent. This person is always going to be in a situation to where they're not being completely honest. So it's going to be a problem moving forward, Beth. And so the best resolve is to go, is to leave and leave it behind. And so that's the best thing to do. Okay. We have a card pull for Brandy. Brandy Ian. I'm going to say the first two letters of the last name. I don't want to say the whole name. Brandy Ian. Brandy Ian. A card pull. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. How do you spell what? Why is the heat on? Okay. Oh, Felicia. Is that you, Felicia? I'll do this carpool for sorry guys, I was just kind of seeing. Someone said text me a question or something. Okay, Felicia. Yeah, Felicia, I saw it. Thanks for reminding me. But I'll do it after this, Felicia, because I told Felicia to reach out. Because we finished our session early. I said, so reach out if you have a question on my live show. And I do it for no cost. No cost. Okay, this card pull is for... go back and see. Brandy, sorry. I forget names quickly. I don't know why. Because I always read energy, not names. And that's a problem because even with mediumship, I'm like, I have to be very focused on the name because I always like forget names and because I'm always about the energy and the people. And okay, so Brandy got the Wheel of Fortune card with the 8 of Cups card and the Ace of Wands card. So the Wheel of Fortune is obviously, as we all know, is closing a cycle, beginning a new cycle, and the 8 of Cups is leaving something behind. So as I'm reading this, there's clearly older relationships that need to be left behind. It feels more in the relationship sector to me that there are people that you're probably outgrowing or people that are holding you back from doing any sort of creativity that you feel like you should be progressing on. So and the 8 of Cups isn't so much about having such a negative experience, more saying like I'm ready to move on from this. I'm ready to kind of leave behind that chapter, those people, those involvements, right? And the Ace of Wands is really kind of my wands of creativity, right? The Ace of creativity, the birth of something new, or creating something new in that sense. Not the Ace of Cups, but I'm thinking the Ace of Wands. And that's also an emotional card too, about being in control and being the dictator of your emotional expressions. And so that should correlate with your creative expressions. So because of the letting go of those that don't serve you, those relationships, right, that have been kind of in a way, or just maybe just an anchor in your life in a sense, that's going to give you more of that creative space, or at least more space to be creative in that way. Okay. So it's almost like there's a marking point here, and keep that turning. And I love that the 3 of Pentacles came out too in conjunction to this, because it's my communal card. So it's also a sign of connecting with new people, a new community of people, a new group of people, a new environment. That's also indicative of that as well. So it makes sense that came up after this too, because leaving older people behind, a newer group of people come in, and perhaps they are very supportive or in alignment to being creative with you. Right, so that's cool. That's good, right? And so that's great. Okay, that was for Brandy. And Brandy says, hits. I'm really struggling with the balance between my current romantic relationships and my desire to spend time on creative purposes. Yes, you might have to find a way. And here's the thing, Brandy. It's not so much even about like I said, like I have to cut it off. It could be like maybe just need to have an emphasis of the time that I need. Right, and that stroke of a new cycle, in that sense. So I definitely would kind of really emphasize that right now for you, because the creative focus for me is what's going to pull you forward into newer, and I don't say relationships just romantically, I mean also friendships and environments that can also help to expand your creative outlets. So I would definitely consider that. Okay, we have one more. And it's an easy night for me. And it's carpool for Karma. And we have a small group today too. It's a very small group today. As I said, it's been quiet on social media for a little bit. I've been quiet on social media too, so I understand that. You got this. You got it, Brandy. I mean, you have it. And don't overcomplicate it. And I would say this too, in your life, Brandy, it doesn't have to be this or that. Make it this and that. Try to find a way to have this and that be for you in these situations. I can have this and that too. Where can I find that in that sense? The problem is, I think that deep down inside in your subconscious, you're trying to pick one over the other. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way at all. Especially have people who are supportive of you to do so. They'll support you when you're in those modes of creativity too. Okay. All right. Karma. Wow. Look at this. They're just floating out of you. All right, Karma. You ready for this, baby? I'm just going to show you the cards because just the way the cards came out. Yes, Lisa, I will get to that. Thank you. I just like to get the cards out of the way first, Lisa. Is usually what I do with that. But yes, let me right after this, Felicia. You're next on this because yours is. I'm not going to use the cards on yours, Felicia. The World card for you, Karma. Okay, something is to me. It feels like travel. Travel, completing a cycle too is the World card, but it feels like travel. 10 of Cups, Ultimate Happy Harmony card. The Fool is the New Beginnings card. New Chapter card. 3 of Cups is the Celebration card, and the 9 of Cups is You Have Everything You Need card. So let me summarize this in a psychic way. Clearly, I feel like you'll be connecting with more of your passion in a way that connects with the world in that sense, both figuratively and literally. And I do sense some travel next year. So you might do some traveling next year too. And that's where probably I feel like this inducing of happiness, being in harmony that the 10 of Cups represents is really going to come to you and really feel that way. And celebrating this new endeavor, celebrating this connection to your passion of career, because that's what the Fool is also bringing to the table too. And the 9 of Cups of having everything that you need and you're surrounded by everything that you need means that you'll be connected with the resources that you need too. And the Ace of Pentacles too, coming right after this is like, holy crap, like that's also talking about there's some sort of financial increase or financial success or breakthrough, which is interesting. So it could be, I always like the Ace of Pentacles. Like sometimes the messaging speaks to me based on the current. And so in this case, it feels like you're being handed something financially. So it's making the image feel very literal for you in this sense. So something is being handed to you financially as well. And so this is tremendous. And we're going to take this into 2026. If we can do like almost like a preview of 2026, that's what it is. Pretty damn cool. So that's exciting. All right. So good stuff there, Karma. It definitely the World card feels like closing a chapter too. Like I said, similar to the Wheel of Fortune, that you're also closing a chapter to something that's been cumbersome. You're like, it's done. It's complete. It's resolved. We're moving on. All right, Felicia. The question is, the lady who my granddaughter stayed with is going to spread what happened with my son to people on my street. Okay, gotcha. Is the lady? I wouldn't say spread. Maybe that's kind of a word that might be very dramatic to this, but I think she has a loose tongue. I think it'll slip out, regarding the circumstance. So, not that I feel like she'll go, hear ye, but she'll talk to someone and be like, da. So she won't keep it private. No. But I do feel like it will come out to somebody here, maybe someone there, and then you know how the game of telephone works, right? But she's not the person that will go hear you and just start like announcing it, not in that context. But I do feel like she will maybe tell someone and then that person will say something in that type of way. That's what she feels like to me in that regard. So yeah. Yeah, in that sense, yeah, I do feel that. So, but you're moving anyway. So, who cares about that street anyways? You'll be out of there. You'll be moved away from that anyway. So, who cares anyway at that point? And at some point too, we have to say to all the mothers too. At some point, we have to, as parents, I'm not weak, 'cause I'm not a parent in that way, but to the parents that have grown ass children, that at some point you should not be allowing the fuck ups of your children be a representation of you. How do I know? Because I have a fuck up brother. So, okay. And I have to tell my parents that it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of that grown ass man who's a fuck up. Okay. So we have to understand, if that gets around, that's on them, not you. Right? Because there are other things that you do there well. And at some point we have to stop caring about the peanut gallery. There are people that look like, oh my God, that's horrible. I feel so bad for the mom. There's some people that judge it. Some people don't give a fuck. And, so we have to understand, like, you shouldn't be able to allow yourself to harbor that shame, because your son's a grown ass man. And at that point, that has nothing to do with you, so don't harbor that shame. In that sense. And so, a lot of times, it's like people think that, they think it's me but he's fucking 40 years old. Like, he's a screw up, so I'd find a way to work with yourself emotionally on making sure you're not carrying the shame of your own son's poor behavior. I know that could be easier said than done, but it's possible. It really is possible, because it's all your choice whether or not you want to care about that or not, so. Okay, so we're closing the readings. That's all we have for tonight. And so, do I need to close with anything? So we'll do my final thoughts, I would say. My final thoughts are, what are Scott's final thoughts? That's like Jerry Springer's final thoughts. Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of change. 2026, I'll kind of just briefly, I probably have to do some like predictions for 2026 videos, but 2026 doesn't feel as collectively booming as it will be individually booming. I feel like a lot of people in 2026, a lot of you guys will be doing your own things. Most importantly, that there won't be so much creative stuff. Because like when I was in 2024 doing predictions for 2025, God, it was like so like this one, like the Elon stuff I predicted. To go back and watch my recaps. 2026, I've been thinking like it just feels like people are doing their thing. And I can go dive deeper into like the financial aspects and crypto and all that stuff too. And as I did predict last year that 2025 crypto was going to reach its all-time high, and it did this year, and then now it's kind of tanking a little bit. My partner asked, he was panicking, and I said, I see it boosting by Wednesday or Thursday, and then it boosted up. It was at 89, and it boosted up to 93 Wednesday, but Thursday it tanked again. So I'm like, it did boost a little bit, but and some things are not so predictable because it's like there is randomness. That's something we tell people too. There is randomness to reality as well. Like otherwise, I'd be predicting lottery numbers if there wasn't a thing called randomness. We have to have randomness too. That's what free will is. And so not every single step or every single thing is predictable. And so I can always give a gauge if something's not predictable, this is where it's heading, and so chances are it's going this direction. There's prediction like here's a certain day, a certain time, a certain person, and a certain avenue. So, but 2026, I think a lot of people, I just see a lot of people being very, very busy, very engaged, and if you're wrapped up in drama, you'll be engaged with more drama. Okay, so it works both ways. So those of you who are really trying to engage with your careers, engage with things that you want, or trying to flourish into your businesses, you'll start being very productive in that in 2026. The energy really calls for that productivity. But if you're putting all your productivity into drama, into like, and cheating, you'll be more drama. You'll be productive more drama till you get sick of it. So it works in both ways, right? Like I said before. So set yourself up to which way you want to participate, right? And to be productive next year for 2026. And I just hate the new year, new you stuff. It's just a continuation. How do you want to continue on? What is your new direction? How do you want to navigate? Check in. How are you navigating? Are you conscious of where you're going? Right? So let a new year be that check-in to say, where am I going? Where have I been going? Have I changed anything? All right, let's redirect here. Not making like goals like this year I'm going to be a millionaire. This year I'm going to lose 150 pounds when, it's like you can't even lose 1 pound. Like let's be realistic on goals, but you make a new year be a pivot to our direction or an acceleration to where we're going. That's all. That's the check-in. Let the new year's be a maintenance for us. So, but 2026 feels very much this way. I don't feel 2026 being nearly as chaotic as 2025, but I feel 2026 being like an eye-opener to a lot of things in 2026, especially when it comes to technology and the AI and robotic stuff. There's wow, more with the alien stuff. Wow. So I feel it being more enlightening to the supernatural or more enlightening to, higher dimensional things. I feel that being more of a shock for a lot of people in 2026, And I just feel like religion is dwindling in a way, or converting in a certain way, at least in Americas, or those who are more spiritually focused. And so I feel like even that will be more unified spiritually in 2026. The beginning of such, not the completion of it, but the beginning of such. And so there's a lot of great vibes. Like when I do predictions for 2023, 2024, it was always dark and heavy. 2026 feels busy. I always see it being a little lighter, and I see the aura of 2026. It's like a yellowish, light green color. The aura for 2025 was always this brownish, reddish, maroon color, which is fiery, And so, but then 2026 is like kind of this like, and even like this, the aura of 2026 for me, that yellowish and greenish, a little bit of a light bluish hue to it, kind of in that area. And that just feels like productivity, movement, busy in that sense, right? So let's prepare for that. And I've seen a lot of people preparing. A lot of people starting for something new, for a new career, starting a new hobby, new trade. I see a lot of people starting new things now, preparing for that to lift off in 2026. All right, so good things ahead. I think Karma, your read was kind of very conducive to even that. That's why I was like, oh, this feels like 2026 energy. So a lot of that's ahead for a lot of people. And so if you're doing the work, it's going to be fantastic. I got new music coming out. I'm writing a new song now, actually I have a lot of new songs. But I release them one by one as singles. So I feel like everyone does albums. I like to highlight a song for what a song is, it's like each song to have its breath of air. And so I said, I'm just going to release singles. That's what I'll do. Because I like to do that way. Here's this song. Here's this baby, because everything is a baby. So new music's coming out soon. Actually within 2026. I'm excited about that. I'm going back to I was doing like a little bit of 80s synth pop a little bit too. I was like kind of in that vibe. Now I'm kind of back into my rock vibes, soul rock, synth rock, vibes, indie vibes, going back to that. And so I'm excited to kind of see where I transition to that with music. So I have a lot of music I took off of iTunes. I had like really heavy rock music that I did, years ago. I have a huge catalog. I only have like maybe 8 songs on Apple Music and Spotify, but I have hundreds of songs in my library of what I want to showcase. So at some point, perhaps I'll release all those older rock songs that I have that were indie rock and stuff. And I say rock, but it's really the kind of more alt rock and alternative indie, because I still have like synth stuff and harmonies and stuff. So it's still very kind of like, had character, right? Maybe I'll just release a compilation of all that stuff at some point, but new music is ahead. I'm finding another new sound. So, but still my vibe. Still my stuff. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys, but I won't be here next week. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Again, if you want to book a session with me, scottcruzpm.com for live reading, private readings there as well. If you didn't catch last night's LOL, it was actually a decent episode. There was some lucidity there that hasn't been there in a while, which is nice. So that was a great topic of sensual sexuality or sacred sexuality we talked about. So it was a good episode. If you missed that, go check it out. And I will see you all the week after the next. And so I appreciate every single one of you guys. You're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love, and I'll see you soon. Ciao. Good night.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.